This is Out Loud and Laughing. What is up, chosen fam? Welcome back to the pod. Today, we're sitting down with someone who is essentially the blueprint of the modern Renaissance man. You might know him as a digital creator with an aesthetic that makes your Pinterest boards look like a rough draft, but he's here today as a powerhouse marketer, amongst many things. He's a former coffee entrepreneur. Wow. He's a former coffee entrepreneur who helped revitalize downtown Marion, and he's the man who turned a personal journey to Turkey into a viral conversation about authenticity and male vanity. Welcome to the show, Jared Gravatt.
What
How are
an
you?
introduction. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
So nice to have
We
you.
are so excited, Jared, to have you. Welcome to the pod. We have been deep diving into your world. And the one thing that stands out is your incredible ability to kind of navigate different rooms. Now, what do we mean by that? You are in the marketing profession. You also are this high level LGBTQ plus influencer. How do you merge the two? How do you go back and forth? Or is it kind of one world for you?
Honestly, it kind of feels one world for me. I feel like I'm chronically online at all times because of marketing. I do social media for my full-time gig. And then, for just kind of like the hobby and the influencer stuff, I'm always online
Yeah.
as well. So, and it's just something I've done for years. So I think it just kind of grew and built over time. So honestly, it just feels so natural to me and like all the entire day.
We can definitely relate to that. We are also in the digital space, digital creators, and all things digital. So, yes, looking at a screen can be taxing. But I also wanted to talk about this entrepreneurial itch that you sort of assuaged a while ago. You co founded this Crown Brew Coffee, which you've since sold. And beyond that, you helped rebuild a 120-year-old building from the ground up. Now, I'd like to talk about how you moved on from the business side of that and you talked to us a little bit about like how that was a branding experience, but when you're building your own personal brand now online, do you look at yourself as a startup that needs constant renovation?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think I'm always kinda looking at the ways that I can improve and things like that. I mean, I think in the sense that, like are you talking about, like, me personally as a startup?
Yeah, you and I know that we're gonna follow up because we want to hear a little bit about the coffee business that you
Yeah,
started because that's interesting to us too.
yeah. I g I think kinda with me, it's like, you renovate, you're like, "Okay, now this visually looks like what I want it to do," but I think also with me, I'm constantly getting new ideas. I'm changing so much all the time. I think as an entrepreneur, it's like you get these, like, new ideas and you're like, "I wanna do that," but then you deal with the same, like, insecurities as you did from the beginning of, like, "Is this gonna be successful? Is this gonna be good? Like, can I do it? Am I capable?" So I still deal with that a lot. I think I'm even currently in that season with the new ideas that I have of some other things that I would like to start. So I think I'm constantly in a self-renovation for sure.
Can we, because we jumped right into it, Jared, but we'd love to like take a step back. Like, how did you get into this? How did you start? Like, what was your, obviously you're very photogenic. You seem to be very into like fashion. So like what was the itch to do this? Like, give us some of the backstory.
Yeah, are you talking about in the sense of, like, social media, like, personal social media
Yeah,
stuff?
just becoming a badass influencer.
Well, I think since, like when did Instagram come out? Like, 2009 or
Let's not age ourselves, but
Let's not
yes.
age ourselves now.
right.
Tread lightly.
I've always loved photography, and I've loved, like, capturing things that kinda, like, spark emotion. I've always been into editing, like, editing photos has always been just, like, a hobby and passion of mine. Like, I would tell my friends, I'm like, "Editing photos is like therapy for me," you
Mm.
know? So I've always, like, taken photos and shared aspects of my life on social media. It just releases something in me, and, I mean, I've done that for years and years and years. Nothing really has taken off. I enjoy, like, showing my outfits. I enjoy, like, traveling. So for me, it's always just been naturally just something that I enjoy doing. I feel like it's outside of my nature to not share about my life, and I love that social media is an outlet for me to do that. But over time, it's kind of taken off, and brands have reached out, and some posts have gone viral, which has been really exciting. And so now it's kind of turning into this like, wow, okay, this is like an important part of my life now, and even just like a side stream of income coming in with, collaborations and things like that. So it's been exciting, but it wasn't like one day I'm like, I want to be an influencer.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I was like, I just want to share about the things that I love in my life, and then maybe people will like it and follow it, and maybe they won't. Um, there's
Were
just
you this
something about
creative as a kid?
yeah. I was an
Yeah,
I was kind of an art nerd in
yeah.
high school, like, I loved clay and those kinds of things, and my family is, like, very musical and artistic, and so I just think it's just something that's kind of been in my blood forever. So to not have an outlet to release those creative things would feel so counter to who I am, and so it just wasn't something that I'm like, "This is something I'm gonna do and be someday," you know?
Well, it sounds like you're just a creator and an entrepreneur, right? Because I do wanna talk a little bit about the coffee thing because it was an idea and you and your partner did coffee. And, like, can you give a little backstory on that too? Because, you kind of take on so many projects, which we love.
Yeah. So, out of high school, I didn't go to college. I was like, I want to travel the world, and I ended up working for like various nonprofits, and ended up. So I did that for years, and then I a lot of times I would speak about like my experiences overseas. So I was at a conference speaking about one of my trips that I had done in Africa, and there was a guy selling like fair trade merch in the lobby, and one of those things he was selling was like a bag of beans from Guatemala. And I was like, okay, what's this about? And he's like, the money goes towards rescuing women from sex trafficking in Thailand. I was like, wow, it's amazing, great cause. And ended up buying a bag of beans. And I had just moved back home to Marion. So I grew up in Marion, left for a while, and then moved back. And so, where I lived before, I lived in Kansas City, there was, craft coffee shops everywhere. It really spoiled me. I loved it. But where I live, it's very rural. There's no craft coffee anywhere, like nothing like with cool design. So I just opened up to him and I was like, man, I really would love to just open up like a craft coffee shop, in the area. Anyways, we ended up getting Thai food, and he's like, "So what do you wanna do with your life?" And I just, like, told I'm such a visionary person, so I was like, "I wanna do this and this and this," and just, like, shared everything, and then he, like, asked me this question, he's like, "So what are you doing about it?" And that honestly, that's really struck me, and I was like, "Literally nothing." And he's like, "Do you wanna start a coffee company together?" And this dude's, like, basically a stranger to me at this point. And, I was like, "Yeah, what have I got to lose? I'm a broke millennial, I don't have capital to start this, but, like, what if it works?" And so we did, and it took off, and it was an amazing experience. Um, but, I wasn't out at the time. So when you go into partnership, you should probably, like, not be partners with people that aren't okay with you being gay. So that
Mm.
was one of the reasons why, things split up, and, I ended up selling my shares of the company, which is sad, but I'm so proud of all the work that, we did as a company and what we built and things like that. But yeah, 10 years, and basically just branded it myself. I was like, had a water budget with a champagne taste, so I'm trying to find all these hacks to make this space look incredible. And, one of the things we got was like our business got voted one of the most Instagrammable places in Illinois, which when we're in like
That's
a podunk little
crazy.
town. So to
Yeah.
get that kind of like recognition, I was like, I've reached it.
This is it.
Yeah.
That's great.
You're the marketing guy, so it sounds like you put that to the test, which is good.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of renovation, we kinda wanna talk a little bit about Turkey too. You you didn't just go on a vacation, you went for a full-on transformation, but what's important about it is you chose to document the entire thing. I think 4.2 million graphs? So in a world
Oh,
where
no, no,
influencers use
4,700 graphs.
okay, 4
I
okay,
don't think I have that many
4,700.
here in my head.
it's a high number, but,
It was a high number, yeah, yeah.
but what's interesting about it though, and I think, where influencers usually only show the after with, like, a filter, you just let it all out and showed the ugly parts of the recovery. So what was that process like?
Well, so like, with my community that I do life with in person, like, I was always joking about going to Turkey. Like, I
Yeah.
was so upfront about it, you know what I mean? Because I received my, family's inheritance. We don't have long hairlines, for a long time, so I was definitely, like, thinning out, and me and my brother would always joke about, like, going and getting hair transplants, and it's just something, like, over time it was
Yeah.
such an insecurity for me. um, I would think about it and put so much time and energy into, like, trying to make it look good. And so finally I was like, I'm doing this. I had a friend that went, his results were amazing, and he kinda documented the journey. And so I reached out to them, and, I mean, the cost was so, like, affordable. I'm like, "This is the time to do it," right? So I went, but, like, naturally, like me, like, I document everything. And in my head, I'm like, "This isn't, like, a taboo thing." Like, I know people get this done, and, like, yada yada. And I went, documented the trip and experience, just thinking it was gonna be like, you know, just fun to like talk about it. And I posted it like immediately because I'm super impatient. Like I want people to know what I'm doing. And I posted and blew up. The video got like 82 million views on Instagram. It was
That's
like,
insane.
yeah, it
That's
was
yeah.
crazy. And I mean, the comments were actually horrible. Really
Oh,
bad. It was like the bad side of Instagram is what made it
Mhm.
blow up, and people were like, "You look better bald," and, like, all of these, like, xenophobic comments about Turkey and losing kidneys, and just it was awful, and I'm, like, regulating all these comments and stuff, and I'm bald, and I'm, like, hoping that fingers crossed, like, it works out. But People Magazine reached out to me, and they did, like, a feature of it as well, and so, through that, I had I mean, thousands of messages from guys from all over the world who were, like, so interested in this process, and you could tell there's so much shame around it, and just, like, guys just don't wanna talk about it, and I didn't realize, like, it was such a taboo thing to do is to get a hair transplant. I'm like, literally, they're just moving the hairs from the back of my head on the top of my head. Like, I'm not, like, getting it like a crazy facelift, you know what I mean? Like,
not yet.
it wasn't
Yeah.
that well, yeah, not yet, but give it a few more years, I probably will.
Yeah. Oh,
But,
same.
I was just like it just didn't seem like that big of a deal to me, but to so many guys and people, there's, like, so much weird stigma around it, and so just by talking to them about the process, like, it broke down a lot of, like, these lies that people believe about the process and going to Turkey and all these kinds of things, so it was really cool. I was not anticipating this to be such, like, a huge part of, like, my social media platform was talking about my hair transplant journey. You know? I was just thinking like, yeah, it was a fun trip, stayed at a great hotel, the people were really nice, food was delicious, and, it was cheap.
Yeah.
But it ended up, like, being bigger than that, and honestly, I'm just thankful that I did document it because met some really amazing people and been able to have some, like, really awesome conversations about the journey, and honestly, I'm so happy I did it. Like, I would have done it years and years ago, but I think it looks good. I'm confident on whether it looks natural or not. Like, I it's something I'm not thinking about anymore. So now I can, like, reserve the space that that insecurity had in my mind, and I can put it somewhere else? And that's the thing is, like, it's not that I'm like, "No, I'm still constantly thinking about my hair." I'm like, "No." I literally rarely put product in it anymore. I'll just, like and go to work, and that's so great? I can jump in a swimming pool and not worry about the topics, like
Coming off,
turning the
right? Just
turning the
floating
pool
away.
water black, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. That's funny.
Um
It's so true. And then, guys, this is a podcast, so most of you may not be able to see, but Jared's hair looks fucking good. So money well
Nice.
spent, Jared.
As does Jared,
Oh yeah,
ladies and
yeah. Oh yeah.
gentlemen.
The rest
So
of Jared too.
Oh
yeah.
gosh. Now I'm getting red, now I'm getting red.
That's so funny. You talk about, vanity a bit, and we talk about it on our podcast here. I think it has a little bit to do with us being gay men and always trying to show up. How has this helped you move into other spaces, like at work? Has this like unblocked some other ways in your life that you didn't anticipate it unblocking?
Like
The hair
dating.
transplant?
Yeah.
Um,
That's a big thing, right? Like to sort of transform the way you look. And I think that like that would like you were just talking about putting that space away. I'm
Yeah,
wondering
fixing
like
the
what
inner.
yeah.
it is kind of crazy for me, like, the transformation that I personally went through since that. It was like it unlocked something in my brain. Now, people at work did not understand why I wanted to go to Turkey to get a hair transplant. They were terrified for me to, like, travel there and, like, all these things. But then, like, they just noticed, like, the confidence that unlocked in me, and I ended up, like, started going to the gym for the first time because I'm 35 years old. I've never, like, worked out till I was about 33, 34 years old. I was just so insecure to, like, go to a gym because I didn't wanna look like an idiot, and so I was just, like, skinny fat, and I just to me, I'm like, I'm gonna do this, not because, like, I feel like I gotta look hot, but I just, like I hate that this thing that is not that big of a deal is taking up so much space in my mind. You know what I mean? Same with the hair transplant. Like, why should I be ashamed of doing that? Why should I be ashamed of going to a gym and looking like an idiot for a few months until I, like, learn the rhythm and going? And so, started going to the gym, getting healthy, eating healthy, learning a lot. And so just, like, over time, like, I just became way more confident. I looked better physically. I think people could begin to see that on social media. And so, people began to message me and just stuff like that. So it's just like this snowball effect of like, when you there's this saying that someone said to me, and I say this all the time. They said, to a smart crow, a scarecrow is an advertisement. And basically, what that means is like so many things in our life that like try to scare us and intimidate us. They're guarding this like fruit and harvest. And so I've realized in my life, like even with starting a business, everyone's like, oh, you can't start a business today. You can't start a craft coffee shop in a rural community. You can't do this. You can't do that. And there's all these like fear tactics that we have like in our life that keep us held back. But what I have found is when I look at that and I identify that this like voice of fear, actually, if I come against it, there is actually something really amazing that happens. And for me, it's like been confidence. And so I feel like, going being fear of being judged of getting a hair transplant or fear of going to the gym or whatever like that. I feel like I've gained so much more confidence after doing that and like facing that fear, if that makes sense.
It's so important that you brought that up, and we're so thankful for your vulnerability in sharing that. Now, you've also mentioned growing up in small town America influenced your desire to create things that weren't necessarily, I guess I'll say, like commercial or cheap or apathetic, right? So, as a prominent voice in the LGBTQ plus community now, do you have a responsibility, or do you feel a responsibility to show queer kids in those same small towns that they don't have to leave their aesthetic or their ambition behind to be successful?
Yeah, I so that's honestly something that I'm currently, like, dealing with.
Mm,
So the Illinois Department of Tourism just, like, released this video of me kind of, like, with my life here in Southern Illinois, and I kinda talk about, like, growing up gay here and being closeted and afraid to, like, talk about these things, but then, finding community that has accepted me and embraced me and how living here has been an amazing thing. And I see, it's so sad because, like, I mean, there is a mass exodus of people from the LGBTQ community leaving Southern Illinois in these rural communities, and they populate to bigger cities to find community. And, I don't blame them for that at all. But it's like, man, like there is a beautiful community here too, and there's beautiful things about this area. And the thing is like, we can gravitate to the things that already exist, or we can be the type of person to create the thing that we desire to see. And that's where I was, with the coffee company is like, this thing doesn't exist. I see it in my mind. So I can either resent this area because it doesn't exist, or I can stop bitching and just create it myself. And that's what I
mhm.
did. And it's the same thing with like queer spaces and stuff like that. Like we can bitch about not having that, or you can create a safe space for queer people in your small rural community. And it's a matter of like confidence or like, do you want to lead or do you want to just follow? And some people just want to go and move and follow and be part of communities. And I think that's great. But you may want to ask yourself, like, maybe you are the one to start it and it will snowball in that way. So
That is so well said. When you talk about like home and community, How has your perception changed now? Because now your village is almost global and digital, right? So home extends outside of your current home. How do you view home and community now for yourself?
It is interesting. I think for a long time, a lot of, like, part of my community was online, and my only safe space was online,
Mm,
and people that I met online and, different communities that way. But it was hard for me because I felt like there was such a, like, a disconnect. There was, like, this online Jared, and then there was, like, this Jared that was, like, living life in this, like, small rural community. And so I do feel like finally I'm kind of seeing this merger between the 2, and I'm constantly, like, checking myself, like, I wanna make sure that, like, Jared online is the same authentic Jared as, like, Jared in real life, and so I'm like, even when I post, I'm like, is that me? Like, is this authentic or is this, like, a curated version of myself? And I don't wanna be that at all. However, I am an aesthetic whore, and I love my grid to be, like, aesthetically pleasing and has that amber tones. You'll just notice, like, I'm, like, OCD when it comes to, like, the aesthetic, but that is part of me, so here you go. But,
I love it.
yeah, I am happy, and honestly, I don't know if I'll be in Southern Illinois forever, but I don't wanna leave here being like, "Ah, F that place," like, there's just nothing there. I wanna leave being like, "I left something that I'm really proud of, and I'm moving on to something even greater if that ever happens. Or I want to continue to build and create here and continue to build things that I'm proud of. And hopefully people can gravitate towards it and find safety. Because with the coffee shop, like I wanted a space where all different types of people could come and feel seen and heard and loved and embraced no matter who they were or where they came from. Because there wasn't a lot of spaces like that here. And so, because of that, we had tourism from all around in different states, to come and visit and kind of experience that, and that was exciting.
Jared, thank you. You really exemplify this idea of wherever you go, there you are. You can do these things in big cities, but to your point, it's so important to do them in the towns that you call home or that you can connect with. So kudos for all of that work. And honestly, we've really enjoyed getting into your head, but now we want to get into your gut a little bit. And we have a tradition here on Out Loud and Laughing. We call this or that. But for you, we're going to call it this or that, the polished and unfiltered edition.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no overthinking, no marketing strategies
No,
here,
I don't know.
just pure reaction. I know, don't get too scared. We're very
Okay,
kind. We're kind. We're
okay.
gonna give you 2 options, and you just gotta pick one, and feel free to give us a little insight if you'd like. Are you ready?
It's time for another round of this or that, the unhinged get to know you game.
Okay. Are you an iced Americano or a manual pour over kinda coffee guy?
I am a manual pour over.
Does it get
Yeah.
better? Is there, like, is the coffee, like, taste the best pour over, do you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I personally think using a Chemex really brings out all the flavors of it, which it is a pour over. Chemex is a pour over, or like a V60 pour over is great, but that is the best way if you wanna really taste the beans, in my opinion. And the pro trick is let it cool off a little bit, so it kinda get it to almost room temperature to really be able to taste the tones of it.
Y'all heard it, Kennex, buy now, 1 click, add it to your cart.
we are learning. Jared,
Kinda
s-
geeky over coffee a little bit.
scruff or no scruff?
Scruff.
Are you a chest guy or a butt guy?
Chest.
Mm,
I
we're
love it.
getting to know you here.
He's turning
Mhm.
red, and I love it. Okay, would you prefer front row at Fashion Week or backstage at a concert?
Front row at Fashion Week.
Where is this? Is this Milan? Is this New York?
Gosh.
Paris? Close your eyes and
Milan.
just picture
Do
it. There we
that. Let's
go.
do Milan. That sounds exotic. I like it.
I like it too. Any favorite designers that we should be looking out for? Anybody that you particularly
I was
like?
just talking to my brother about this actually at the gym this morning, which is so ironic. We were talking about how I loved, like, the Schiaparelli show. I thought it was
Ugh,
incredible. Ralph Lauren just released something, and I know they, like, kinda helped with, like, the Olympics. And there's a guy, I don't know if I pronounced his name right, but it's Robert One,
I'm not
but
familiar.
he has, like, such amazing designs, like, it's crazy, and I love watching, like, those on TikTok.
You brought up Ralph Lauren. I know we're in a quick round edition here, but Ralph Lauren has had such a good Q4, Q1. They had the Winter Olympics, and then they had like all of
Yeah.
Christmas. Everybody was talking about Ralph
Yes.
Lauren. It was amazing.
Yeah.
My next this or that question to you is: are you a luxury hotel guy or a boutique Airbnb guy?
Oh, gosh. Um, I wanna say I love anything boutique, so let's do
Mm,
boutique Airbnb.
it's
Yeah.
curated. It's giving
I
curated
love
vibes.
curated, yeah.
Yeah.
We always ask the sports question on Out Loud and Laughing. If you are playing the baseball game, are you pitching or catching?
Pitching, always.
Hell yeah, that's right. Get your gloves, boys. Um, when you are in the pool, are you a skinny dipper or are you in designer swimwear?
I'm in just, like, board shorts.
Hell
It's
yeah,
so funny
just
though, I went to Chicago, over the summer, and it was kinda like my first time, like, being around some of the Chicago gays, and, like,
Mm,
we were gonna swim, and, like, I just had, like, normal, like, swim shorts, and they're like, "You're not wearing a Speedo?" Like, "What? What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I sorry, I didn't know that I was supposed to have a Speedo."
didn't get the memo.
Did not get the memo.
All right, this one always gets controversial. Do you prefer a shower or a bath?
Oh, shower. No baths,
See?
ever.
It's always
I
just
one or the other, never in
Yeah,
between.
no baths for me.
all right, so you're wearing regular swimwear, but are you wearing boxers or briefs under that?
Well, like, I wear boxer briefs.
Okay. Oh,
Mhm,
both. Very
yeah.
nice. It's a compromise.
It's a cover.
Would you rather be the face of the brand or the brains behind the screen or behind the scenes?
Gosh. Um, the brains behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's
I
the
have
marketer
such
in
a
you.
love for it. Yeah, because it has to be exactly what I envision, so
I don't know now though. You're giving me a good idea for a campaign behind the screens. I'm like into
Oh,
that, Brian. I'm not
you're
that's
welcome.
yeah, you're thank you. Make that into something. Jared, we're in the same world, so we can talk about that offline. But
yeah.
last one for you if you're ready. Are you looking for one perfect holiday or a lifetime of good laughing?
Oh my gosh, a lifetime of good laughing.
I love that.
I laugh every day, and I can't imagine life without laughing. Like, that would be
Yeah,
horrible.
I
Mhm.
love that. Uh, Jared, this has been such a blast. Thank you for being so open and proving that you can be both polished and real at the same time. You are
You're a
Thanks
fit
for
definitely
having me, it
official.
was so fun.
Yes. But before we go, where can our chosen fam find you and keep up with your next adventures?
Uh, I would maybe encourage them to follow me on Instagram or TikTok. My Instagram handle is just Jared Gravatt. Um, yeah, and I'm just
well,
posting random stuff.
we are watching, we are following, and we encourage everybody here to do the same. You are bringing
Yes.
so much joy, authenticity, and keep decorating all of the towns, small or big, because you're doing such a great job
Will
at
do.
it. Jared Gravatt, everyone. And to our chosen fam out there, thank you for hanging out with us. We invite you to stay loud, stay laughing, and we will catch you on the next one.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
This was Out Loud and Laughing.
We're available everywhere you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple, YouTube, iHeart, or wherever.